Warzone 2 has been out for a while now, a good 8 or 9 months, and I thought now would be a good time to just give my thoughts on the game, my personal opinion. It's just what I think. You're probably you could agree, disagree, doesn't matter, it's cool. But I thought now would be a good time to reflect on where Warzone 2 is right now.
Beyond the new game.
And I think overall the game's it's definitely in the best state it's been since launch today. I think season upon season we've had constant quality of life improvements, additions to the game. And I feel like we're finally at a point where Warzone 2, it would have been nice for Warzone 2 to launch at this level of, quality. Because for the past 8 or 9 months we've been having repairs and fixes and, changes, backward changes, or using Warzone 1 content as new. Whereas I feel like we're at a point now where from now forward we're getting genuinely new stuff, not just old content recycled or fixes or anything like that. It's genuinely new stuff being added to the game, which is always good. It would have been nice to do that from day one. As it stands right now, it's in its best state, and I played all of Warzone 1 since release. The Verdansk days, Caldera, Rebirth, Fortune's Keep. My gameplay on Warzone 1 time-wise dipped quite a bit during the Caldera year, because I wasn't a massive Caldera fan, neither were my friends, so just didn't end up playing as much. I played more Rebirth and Fortune's Keep during that period. But I would say that the current version of Warzone 2 I prefer to Warzone 1. The glory days of Verdansk, when the game first released, everyone was in lockdown. That was just a very specific time to play the game. Everyone was online, everyone was stuck at home. So that was a good time. But I think comparatively to where the game is today, it's a million miles away. Now you might think, well, none of these maps are as good as Verdansk, or none of the movement's not as good as it used to be. But Verdansk, yeah, you think it's a good map from the nostalgia point of view, but comparatively, maps like Vondel and Al Mazrah are far better designed. Even Caldera, technically, was a better designed map than Verdansk. And I think maps play into it a lot. Maps are the bread and butter of a battle royale. If a battle royale doesn't have a good map, it just ain't gonna do. So, and I think currently, I love Vondel. It's a very, very good map. I really like Al Mazrah. Al Mazrah's probably my favourite big map that they've done. And then Ashika is my least favourite. I'm not a massive fan. If I'm taking Warzone 1 and Warzone 2 into account, Ashika is probably my least favourite map of all. But it's not terrible. It's playable. It's okay. I'm not a massive fan. I don't mind it so much in DMZ, where there's less PvP. It's more obviously you just getting your missions done. But Vondel blows Ashika out of the water. This is the thing. Before Vondel came out, Ashika was fine. It was okay. But Vondel is on another level because the amount of detail that map has, there's very little, copy and paste buildings around the map. Which again, another reason why Verdansk was, great for the memories, but how many buildings could you just see? Oh, there's one of those in London, there's one of those in Port, there's one of those in Promenade. Yes, that's good for learning the map. You only need to land in, play for a few hours, few days, and you go, oh, I remember this building, I know I can get on the roof with that ladder, I can get on that zip line, which is good for map knowledge. But it actually decreases replayability because everything becomes a lot more samey the longer you play. Whereas with Vondel, I've played the map a fair amount, and I feel like I've got a good sense of certain areas of the map where I've landed most, or things like that. Or I know Zoo quite well because I've played a lot of DMZ. But I feel as though there's still parts of Vondel I can explore, or there's still parts of the map I need to learn. And what I would say is learn 2 or 3 places you like to land, and from there spread out and learn the layouts of buildings and areas, because that's going to help you no end. No matter what your gun skill is, if you can't hit a shot for toffee, it doesn't matter if you can outplay your opponent with map knowledge. So Vondel's great for that. There's so much verticality to it. but the verticality is provided solely by buildings. I think a lot of the issues Caldera had was so many uphill battles, literally uphill battles, and it's not fun to play. Whereas on Rondo, all the verticality is added by buildings, and the map itself is flat. So you know, generally either you're in the street or you're on a rooftop. It's pretty straightforward. It's not the whereabouts on the hill they are, because if someone's in a building, if they're on the ground floor or the top floor or the rooftop, yeah, they can fight you, or they might be able to peek out of a window, but anywhere in between, they're stuck in a staircase. Whereas an actual hill, they could be anywhere from top to bottom and shoot at you from a bush. So the verticality through buildings is a lot nicer to play. Also, like I say, Al Mazrah, I really like. Al Mazrah isn't perfect. It still has those open spaces with very little cover, very little visual cover. If you get caught out in the desert parts, some of the highways and stuff. But water helps massively. This is true of Vondel as well. Water helps massively when they've got sections of the map that they want to divide between one POI and the next. A river or anything like that is great because it doesn't necessarily need it's not necessarily classic cover, but swimming is a fast way of getting from A to B, and it's hard to shoot people out of water. So that works well for both Al Mazrah and Vondel. I think Al Mazrah's got again nice variety. It's well detailed. There's not a lot of copy and paste to the map. And I think Al Mazrah being bright and vibrant, I think they've added a lot more greenery to it this season. It's just a nicer place to play than the dark greyness that we always had in Verdansk or even Ashika. One thing I don't like about Ashika is that dark overcast look to it constantly. I'd rather play on something sunnier, like Fortune's Keep or Rebirth were. So yeah, I think maps-wise, Warzone 2 beats Warzone 1 pound for pound. The second, probably most important thing after that is probably the meta, and I think the general meta of Warzone 2 from start to finish, obviously we began with like the RPK Fennec, and we've had, you know, the broadsides had its time, the MP5, the Cronin Squall, and now we're in this Lachman 556 ISO meta. But I don't think anything, obviously the broadside shotgun is probably the closest we got, but I don't think anything's been genuinely overpowered or genuinely broken. Not that I can remember, and that's good because you don't want that. You want there's always going to be the strongest guns. That's fine. That's necessary. But it would be nice to get more regular updates to the meta, so that if a gun is strong, you don't have to put up with it for multiple months. Like the RPK was king for way too long. The RPK wasn't especially OP, it was just the best gun for the game, but it needed a nerf sooner. And I wouldn't mind playing the game and using the meta if I knew, okay, I'm going to use this for 2 weeks and then I know something else will take its place. That's what I'd like to see them in terms of improving how the meta can work. I'd also like to see them buff and nerf lethals and tacticals more often, and perks, just to mix it up. I think one thing that Warzone 1 suffered with is the weapons were obviously buffed and nerfed every now and then, but tacticals, lethals and perks were barely ever touched apart from when they were really stupidly strong, like the stims were at points and the C4. They got a nerf, but there's certain things that never ever get used, and it'd just be nice to add more variety to the game if they gave buffs to certain items. I think one thing, well, the two main things that have got Warzone 2 back from a bit of the brink of despair was Vondel, but also Ranked. Ranked is great, it's a lot of fun. As someone who, like, I had quite a lot of wins on Warzone 1, a fair amount on Warzone 2. Just getting a win doesn't give me that same buzz anymore like it does when you get your first few wins. But when you get a win in Ranked, or when you even just finish top 5 in Ranked and you earn lots of SR, that's a really good feeling. It's something to earn even if you don't win the match. There's like more of a reason to play. So Ranked is great for that, giving me the motivation to play by giving me that reason to play. One thing I will say about Ranked, I'm annoyed that they've taken out one-shot snipers. For me, they are one of the most fun parts of the game.
Sorry.
And to me, a battle royale is always about variety. Obviously, Warzone takes a level of variety out of it because you have loadouts. You can pick exactly the gun you want. But for me, battle royale should still be about variety. You see people using shotguns, ARs, snipers, a range of different things that you've got to be prepared for. Do you push that building, but they might have a shotgun? You know what I mean? You could hold this angle at range because you've got a sniper. It gives you options. But when everyone's running around with a Latman 5.56 and an ISO, that quickly becomes stale. Now, I like the idea of ranked just being a purely balanced competitive mode, whereas regular play is meant to be more just for pure fun. But I think snipers are such a big part of the game, they should have a place in ranked, and if they're not one shot, it's not ideal. I understand that people might get frustrated with being downed without having that chance to react by a sniper. However, generally, if you get sniped, one or two things has happened. Either the enemy has hit a great shot, you hold your hands up and say, fair play, what a shot. They might have got lucky, which happens. Or the other thing that's happened is you stood still too long. If you're standing still on rooftops in open areas, you're gonna get sniped. You can't really complain if you're doing that. So I'd love to see them make a return to ranked, because I don't want to get to a point where, like I say, everyone's running around with the same one or two guns. It becomes very stale very quickly. But overall, ranked is a W. I think for me, progressing, trying to get from gold into platinum, it does feel like that's going to take a fair amount of time, but that's good. You shouldn't be able to speed run into your ideal placement rank and then just have to sit there maintaining it all season long. I want to grind through the season to reach my peak towards the end. Like, I remember playing Overwatch ranked, and I'd play my placement matches and say I place low platinum. I'd then spend the entire season in that same bracket, just maintaining it. Whereas that's not really grinding for it, you know what I mean? I'm not improving, I'm just sat at the same rank. I would love to see a solos ranked. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It might need a few tweaks to the SR system with solos, because generally you're probably going to get slightly less kills. There's obviously a lot more players rather than teams, so your placement's going to be slightly skewed. But I'd love to see our solos ranked. Other than that, general improvements, I think there's still bugs and glitches, like this strange dropping straight down out the plane issue. There's times where you don't get downed even though you have a self-res or teammates alive, you just insta-die. Things like that, amongst others, just again need ironing out, and I'm sure they will get fixed and new ones will take their place. It's part and parcel of Warzone at this point, and I think overall the game is again in a good a state as it's been so far, so I'm not going to complain too much, but again, that's one of the main things that needs looking at still. And like I say, just more regular updates would be nice to the meta, to the maps. Another thing actually, update wise, is I'd love them to just stop messing around with the playlists. In my opinion, Battle Royale quads, trios, duos, solos, Al Mazrah should be in the game permanently. That's your bread and butter Battle Royale mode on the main map. And then Resurgence, alright, mix up Vondel and Ashika, but again you should have quads to solos. That's fine. Ranked trios on top of all that. And then if they really want to throw in one of these extra modes, it shouldn't be at the cost of something else. It should be additional. Now, I get that they don't want to spread the player base too thin, but I just think those base modes need to be there all the time. It's very frustrating when you see an update on a Wednesday and solos is not on, or it's only solos on Ashika, which I'm not a massive fan of, or it's mini Royale solos. And then I'm surprised they've done this, because Vondel has been such a success. You'd imagine they'd keep Vondel going, quads to solos, but instead they brought Ashika back. And I know that they want to kind of dovetail the two, but Vondel's been such a widely received, well received map, why mess around with it? So yeah, I wish they'd, like I say, just stop messing around with the playlists too much. Other than that, like I say, I think Warzone's in a good a spot as it's ever been. I'm happy playing the game. I hope you are too. I hope you enjoy watching my gameplay here of my first win on Vandal. Little 10 kill game. The ISO is by far the best SMG in the game. It saved me so many times during this match when I was caught with my pants down and managed to pull out the kill. So thanks guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed my commentary and what my thoughts are. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay as well. Drop your thoughts in the comments below of what improvements you'd like to see to Warzone 2, and I'll see you in the next one.